Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. How is everybody doing today? I'm feeling pretty spry right now. I was very sleepy earlier, so hopefully the spryness will stay. It's been kind of a slow week for Mandelas for me. It could be because I've just been doing a lot of regular work, and I haven't really spent a lot of time surfing the internet, and that's where I find a lot of my Mandelas, and the personal ones that aren't on the internet are a little bit boring for most people since they can't see them. One thing that is a little weird in my personal life I noticed a few days ago is when I buy my aspirin, I buy the little baby, like the child aspirin. They're like only 81 milligrams or something, and that way if I just want like a little bit of aspirin, I can take one. If I wanted like a full dose, I can take 3, so I don't always have to take like a giant dose of aspirin, right? So I usually buy like a huge bottle of them so it'll last like years. It's just cheaper that way. And then I've had these ones for quite a long time, and I flipped a few out the other day, and now they have this little, and I've never seen pills like this, but they're little pills, but they actually have this raised bump on them, and I'm like, what the hell is that bump? Because I don't remember that being on there, and it's a little heart. There's a little bump that's in the shape of a heart on my aspirin pills, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that wasn't there before. I've never seen that before. So yeah, that's the latest personal one. I think there's been, it's just kind of hard to say when things change a lot of the times. I'm pretty sure that aspirin is pretty new. But, talking to people, it's like, it just seems like maybe there was a recent shift because a lot of people I know suddenly just remember a lot of things more like this current timeline. Like people that used to remember stuff from my old timeline, some of them very much remember this timeline. Like I left a version of them behind, and this one remembers now, or they got the download, or I don't know. But like lately there's been a few people who used to share my memories of the past that suddenly are now, no, it's always been that way. So was it on Bayer? I think it's some off-brand one, actually. Let me go look at it. Hold on a sec. I just realized I can't because the master bottle of them is at home, and then I just pour them into like an old bottle of what used to be a small bottle of aspirin. And so the bottle they're in now is not their original bottle. I'd have to check the home one. General Sorrow's been on here lots of times. Like, I don't know if it's every week, but I know he's on here a lot. Google security check. And Colorado Skywatch is on here a lot, so I don't know what to tell you. I don't think Colorado Skywatch, you're not on here quite as much, I don't think, as, like, you're not, like, every week, right? But you're on here a lot. You know who hasn't been on here for eons is QP. She had that name QPEA. I hope she's okay. I haven't seen her in like eons on here. She used to come like every week too. So maybe she just got tired of the Mandela. I don't blame her, but Jonu. I don't know who Jonu is. Johnny L. I don't think I remember Johnny L on here. If you were on here, I apologize. Austin 108's in, regular. Lord Frybread, regular. Monty's a regular. I didn't experience Friday last week. I woke up and looked at my phone. It said Saturday. I have had that happen a few times, but not lately. Like, I swear sometimes an hour goes by in 10 seconds, but that whole day missing, it's been a while since the whole day was missing. Let's see that. So Jackie was talking about that Toby Maguire one. I don't, did we have this on here before? Toby. I do remember T-O-B-Y, like, for sure. McGuire. It's kind of hard for me to really believe that it is T-O-B-Y. I'm sure it probably is, but this is interesting because here the official website has one Y, and over here my brain is a little slow today. Okay, the actor is this, who is this person then? Some art person? Okay, so T-O-B-Y is some art person. Shop from artwork from Tobey Maguire based theme. Each image may be a canvas print. Artwork by Tobey Maguire. Okay, so that's some artist dude. Yep. Yeah, it has an E then. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, I never even... That's such a weird spelling. Born in 75. So for me, it was like around the 90s when there was a sudden trend that they started, like, people just started spelling their kids' names weirdly, and like they didn't want to be too normal, so they would just like misspell the names on purpose, and they thought that was all cool. And I was like, yeah, it's embarrassing. But see, he was born in 75. That was way before the trend. So it's like the trend itself went backward in time or something, and now so many people's names are spelled bad. So if that person was like born in the 90s, then I go, well, they could be part of the trend. But also, I do just remember T-O-B-Y as being the proper name. So I agree with you on that one. So, yeah, for aspirin, I just buy the cheapest one. They're all the same. Yeah, it seems like shifts are like, just, I don't know, faster. It's like almost like, little details, whatever. More changes in songs. I think there's some new Beatles songs and stuff. There's one from U2 that showed up today. I'm like, I never heard this song before. They were waxing on and on about this famous song and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I have literally never heard this song ever. Oh, yeah, Art Generica hasn't been on here. Yeah, you know, I hope they're fine and maybe, you know, they just moved on with their life. I mean, I don't blame them if they did. Okay, yeah, I was kind of wondering. I felt really tired, like, last night and today, but then I tend to recover for the show, so I don't know what's up with that. D-Wave is now selling quantum computers that dig into other realities. I'm thinking they are shifting us. I don't know. I kind of tend to think everything is kind of a holistic existence now. Like everything is sort of attached. So cause and effect I don't think are quite as clear as we tend to assume. I'll never move on. I don't know. You know, waiting for 8 years and then see how you feel. Yeah, see, some of those I'm like, I'm pretty sure I would have known. There are definitely new Michael Jackson music videos, because there's like a couple of them that are the only showed up in the last few years, because I knew all of them. There's no way that those were there and I didn't know. All right, I have a tree house full of crystals. Had a friend over, and you noticed. And then you let walls have weird space of random white paint on all the walls. Oh, interesting. I love Def Leppard my whole life, and all of a sudden this album, Yay, is in there. History, no dang way did that exist in the old timeline. Yeah. It's interesting because it seems like a lot of artists just produced a lot more material in this timeline. And the white paint has been heavily watered down. That crap was never there before. It tripped me out. Yeah. You know, it is definitely more trippy when it happens near, like, in your own space. Somehow the aspirin doesn't bother me as much as, say, if it's a wall feature or, the flooring. Somehow that bugs me more. "8 years in, I want to see some progress." Ha ha ha. Yeah, tell me how you get that. We can observe, we can make guesses, we can look for patterns, but how do you really pin it down, like what it is? The one thing I've noticed is there's a couple things that it's trending towards. One is that when we first started seeing it, a lot of the changes would be old, like stuff from the 70s and 80s, like stuff you remember from then somehow now are different. And there weren't a lot of really recent changes. So maybe you talk to your parents and they would like, "Oh, remember 15 years ago when we went on this trip, and blah, blah, blah happened." And she'd be like, "No, this other thing happened." And then there'd be like this big confusion because she would remember a totally different thing, right? But now it's gotten to where you have that same conversation, but it's like something that happened last week, not 15 years ago. So the time frame is getting closer, is my feeling. I do think there's a lot more personal Mandelas in the house. We used to kind of trip out about a couple spelling changes. Oh my God, now there's spelling changes all the time. So some of it is people were jaded. We're like, yeah, whatever. Another one of those. But okay, so that's one thing, that they're closer in time and space, I would say, than it used to be. The geology changes, from my perspective, have been consistently that the continents are getting closer together. Time is speeding up pretty generally. That's a consistent pattern. Animals are getting smarter. People are getting more, I would say, less intellectual and more emotional. Very much. I do think there's a lot more, weather has gotten more strange and extreme. Behaviors have gotten more strange and extreme, human behaviors, I would say. There's a lot of beautiful things showing up in the world, just like Avatar movie type things. Strange, bizarre, but often beautiful. Those are all consistent patterns. Tech going backwards in time. That's another one. And then the old ones from before, just the regular stuff like Alive Again and Mandanimals and stuff. But those have been consistent patterns, though, that we seem to be heading in like that direction. Some of my memories of events don't match my mom's and grandma's. Yeah, I know. And sometimes if there's enough people involved, you'll kind of get a two-way split. Like half of them will remember, no, it's this, and then the other half is like, no, it's that. So you're not totally crazy, because there'll be other people who remember your way. My mom has no recollection of my high school girlfriend that came over 150 times. Yeah, she would probably remember something like that too. Is there a rainbow at the end of all this struggle? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe it depends on the direction you choose. I've often said that it might be like one of those stories where you keep picking every time there's a juncture of choice, you pick one, right? So maybe you pick the direction by your choices. Can we all just smoke some bong? It feels like I already am, even though I'm not. I'm not big on marijuana though. It just makes me sleepy. Welcome to Shell Beach. I know. I wonder, like, okay, if I try to go there, is it gonna be there from my memory? Does Australia exist? You know, has anybody been there that I know is real? Yeah, I think it's getting crazier. I don't know where it's heading. I just kind of laugh. It's now I see title headlines. I'm like, I don't even know if that's real or not. I mean, stuff is just so bizarre. Politics and people and attitudes and behaviors and how is the world even holding itself together? I don't know. Try and travel here. I don't know if they'll let me in. I haven't had the arm poke. I do wonder, though, maybe only certain places exist and others don't. Because there's kind of a weird pattern I see where, they say, oh, it's a small world. I find a strange number of people all come from a couple places I've known in my life. Like I keep running to people who came from Danville, California. That I know those, like my roommate is from Danville, and it's not a very big city or anything, but it just seems kind of strange that it just seems like a lot of people I run into have lived there. And then the Bay Area, Sunnyvale, and there was a couple others that I just like, maybe that's where all the real people are, or just in a few places, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so this one is the one of the images is these. It's funny they call this noctilucent. This one's actually, I think, mislabeled. I believe this is nacreous. So I've had these on before, but I don't think they were nearly this extreme, especially the nacreous ones. So what's going on with these things? I didn't have either nacreous nor noctilucent crowds originally, but now they have these additional terminology for the atmosphere and stuff. So I do remember stratosphere, but now they have, these are just words I'd never heard of before, was like stratopause and mesopause and thermosphere and thermopause and exosphere. And I really got to wonder if there's just like more layers up there. So also tropopause, I don't remember that. I do remember troposphere. So down here, commercial airlines are in the troposphere. And then stratosphere is where you get these nacreous clouds. And they're like these rainbow ones that I have on the thumbnail this time. And then I guess here the mesosphere is where the meteors are at. I'm like, well, how did they get there? They have to come through here, right? Now, I'm guessing they're saying that this is why the spot where they come and they leave trails or something. It does seem a little weird. Even above the meteors area is the noctilucent clouds. And those are like the blue, kind of more creepy white and blue ones. And this kind of confuses me because they say the auroras are above it. But yet I see images now and lately where I see the aurora is coming down in front of mountains. So I do think auroras used to be up high, but it does look like they come down quite a bit now. And then the ISS, assuming it exists, is up there above the auroras. I don't think this is to scale either, because if you look at the images from ISS, it looks like it's way above the auroras and the rest of the Earth. So I don't know how that works, but that's the story. Okay, so these are the nacreous. I don't know why that one's called noctiluca. I think that's a mistake, because so we're seeing them in areas like around here now. They used to say, oh, it's only in the far poles, but Arizona, colorful clouds seen in Arizona, California, and Mexico. Somehow I missed out on that. I wonder what year that was. 2018, like, all right, so anyways, clearly they can be seen in my area. Colorful cloud. I don't know, I think I'd flip out a little bit. So I think this kind of a phenomena is why there's such a beautiful show now when they shoot the rockets, because first they're into nacreous cloud zone, and then they get up into noctilucent cloud zone. So I've noticed lately that they look all rainbowy at the bottom, at the streaks, and then they get all bluish up higher, and so I guess that's why. But now they like streak across the sky so much. They used to just kind of go a little bit of an angle and up, and they were gone. But now it's just, when they go, they're more like airlines flying across the sky, and that's another huge change with the rocket launches for me. Okay, that's that Arizona one again. Somebody didn't do a very good job of getting a straight picture. Okay. So some of these are like really crazy. These are all nacreous ones. So they're like, I don't remember originally them being like this kind of like defined, really bright ones like this. Like, look at that. That's crazy town. I mean, can you imagine? Spark Aurora Borealis reports. Yeah, so it's a different look than the auroras, for sure. Edinburgh photos capture rare mother of pearl clouds lighting up skyline and creating mysterious shapes. What are mother of pearl clouds? Is that nacreous clouds? I have not heard of that. Rainbow colored clouds in the sky over the city Tuesday. When was that? Last year. 2 years ago. Nacreous clouds form in the lower stratosphere over polar regions. Over polar regions like Arizona? I mean, Arizona and the UK has polar regions now. Often will remain visible for hours after sunset and through the night as they are lit by moonlight. Ha. Why are they still saying they're polar regions? That's totally wrong. Nations in higher latitudes like Scotland and Canada are more likely to see the unusual clouds. So, like Scotland, okay, it's not that high. Canada, okay. But Arizona, mother, so, that big red and yellow one, that would be like, somehow that's even weirder. You just saw that up there just hanging out. It's weird because it's all foggy here. And isn't this supposed to be above the fog? So how come you can see it so well? Like, shouldn't it be in a clear sky? That's weird. That I don't think I've seen one of these in a foggy sky before. Not like that one, which the fog looks so low. All right, so so then there's the noctilucent clouds. Oh, check those out. That's not the noctilucent, but The noctilucent ones look like this. I've had these on before. I don't think these have changed as much as the nacreous ones. It does seem, though, that they are much lower than they used to be. Again, they're coming down to the rest of us can see it. Typically visible 9 to 120 minutes after sunset, low above the northwest horizon. Rocket mission conjures a ghostly noctilucent cloud. Okay, so I guess that's the rocket. And then it made that. Why does it look like the shape? It's like the Starship Enterprise. You can't make this stuff up. So there didn't used to be that many pictures of these on, like, when did it show up? About 6 or 7 years ago, I first heard of these. Those are weird. Why is it so dark there, then? So now they have, like, all this terminology for the different shapes in the noctilucent clouds, too. But yet, they just... It looks like they just label the like, oh, this one's of type 1VB whirls and lacunous hole and veil sheet. Type 11B bands with hard edges. What the heck? Like, what is all that for? Type 4C whirls, large scale. What the hell? Where is that all going? Why? Is that can't be real, is it? Showcase of rare polar stratospheric clouds. Stratospheric is the same as nacreous. Captured within a single hour from the same spot. It's all natural, no paintings. That's crazy town. Come on. Iceland skies just broke the color spectrum. I didn't find that one. I would have cut that one out for the thumbnail. I wonder if it's too late. Nacreous. Okay. Ooh. Are these even real? I feel like these... Maybe that one's real. That one, I think, has to be AI, right? Right? It has to be AI. Nor has it been photoshopped. These are polar stratospheric clouds over Iceland. That's crazy town. This one. I'm having trouble believing that's really there. I'm having a problem. That is not legit, is it? I mean, they claim it's real. Can you even tell? Alright. Dangs. No way. I'm going to have to change this thumbnail now that I found these. Seriously? Iceland is shaping up. It's getting less cold and more green, and it's, dang, look at this business. Look at this business. This has got to be tweaked, though. This is not real. Flicker, okay, I don't think so. Still. I need to find, like, a long ways one. Guess I could just cut through here or something. Alright, I'll leave that one open because I'm going to look harder for one like that. Dang. What did I just erase? I thought I erased. Okay. I thought I erased that one, but I guess I didn't. Alright, why did I have this one? Oh, it's because of that. So this used to be the kind of thing that you would see in Iceland, but now it's this. And now this is the kind of thing you could see in Arizona. So you can see how it's upgrading itself. Okay, this one is from Jackie. Just more excuses for weird animal behavior. Surfer attacked by demonic sea lion amid toxic algal bloom in California. It was sick. Its mind warped by this poison coursing through its system. You know, in the old days, you just feel sick. You'd be tired and lethargic. But I guess now you become insane and attack people. Off the Sea of Cortez near Baja. I have never heard of the Sea of Cortez near Baja. That is weird. Okay. Surfer was left shaken after he was attacked by a sea lion that was presumably infected with toxic algae that's rapidly spreading across California's coastline. When a sea lion erupted from the water, it started barreling towards him. Its mouth gaped wide, teeth flashing, its eyes locked onto mine with an unsettling ferocity. A frenzied struggle ensued. The animal began charging at him with his teeth bared and jaws snapping. Mandela said he dodged the sea lion repeatedly, using his board as a shield while he desperately tried to paddle back to shore. You know, I kind of wonder how you would ever possibly maneuver successfully against a sea lion. You can't really see underwater that well. Mandela swung at the animal to fend it off. The sea lion dodged his punch with eerie agility. No, they're very agile underwater. He then shook his head and pulled Mandela off his surfboard by his flesh. Okay, so he did get bit. He was able to free himself from the animal's jaws and get back onto his surfboard. Then he finally paddled back to shore, the sea lion stalking him and charging at him until his feet hit the sand. So I guess he got bit, but he was able to drive himself to the emergency room. Researchers are currently seeing a surge of toxic algal blooms across California's coastline that are known to cause neurological sickness in marine animals like sea lions and dolphins. The algae called pseudonychia produces harmful domoic acid toxin. When consumed via forage fish, domoic acid can cause larger animals to become dangerous and unpredictable. Animals act erratically and they can be dangerous when affected by the neurotoxin. I've not heard of this before this, that there's like, because we didn't even have like these red tidal bloom things until recently. Now, supposedly now they go way back, but then they just said it made animals sick, but I haven't heard of them being like insane. But apparently now it is well known for them to be insane. Me and my pup got chased by a rabid juvenile raccoon several months ago. I'd say it was demonic for sure. Yeah, everybody's acting weird, including the animals. A lot of them are smarter, but unfortunately, a lot of times they use it against you. So a while ago, we put this little flashing light in the underneath the truck hood to try to chase the rats out, because it's a big problem out here that even if you drive your vehicle every day, like mice and rats go up inside and they just chew on things and they get into the ventilation and they just cause all kinds of problems. So a couple days ago, I got into the truck and the dash screen wouldn't turn on, which means I have no backup camera. So Dave opened it up and looked, and it's hilarious because as I was driving, I could hear this rattling noise. So I told Dave, look, it won't turn on, and it's making a weird rattling noise, and it sounds like an acorn rattling in there. And I'm thinking, well, it's probably not really an acorn. It's probably like some wire got unhooked or something. But he opened it up, and it literally was an acorn. Like, it was just like I said. It sounds like an acorn. It was an acorn. Something was up in there eating acorns and they ate out the middles and threw it, probably some rat or something, into the compartment where that screen is. And I guess it pushed out one of the boards or something, the control boards, and disconnected it. So he had to clean out the acorns and reconnect it, and it's fine. So that's the one saving grace, is it's fine, and we didn't have to spend money fixing it or anything. But like, how do I get those rats out of there? I've been like trying everything to deter them. So we had put this flasher in there, and and they just, the rats or mice or whatever, they chewed the wires to the flasher, so it was no longer connected to the battery, so it stopped flashing. They're like, I guess they really don't like the flasher because they made it turn off. And we've also had situations where we'd put light in and they would just pack like mud all over the lights and blot them out, and that's been in the last few years. So we'll just patch the wiring and stick it back in there, but I'm hoping that we won't have it chewed in 5 seconds. We have some kind of wyvern in our neighborhood for quite a few years, and every neighbor sees it, but all concurs its existence. One night I killed it. Why? What's a why? Are those real wyvern? It sounds familiar, but I'm not 100% sure if that's a real animal. Okay, is a type of mythical... No, okay. Mythical dragon. I'm assuming you didn't actually kill a dragon, okay? That would be pretty crazy. I think I've told the story when I was in college. There was this rumor going around that there was a giant wolf stalking people, and it would follow people that had dogs, so watch out. And I'm like thinking, well, if I had a dog, that's why they're telling me. They're like, when you walk your dog, it stalks you. And I'm like, well, it hasn't eaten anybody's dog yet, so it's probably not that dangerous. And one day I did see it, and it was actually just a coyote, and it would follow you. And it didn't seem like it was really mean or anything, but everybody said it was a giant wolf, and then I see it, and it's just an ordinary sized coyote. So sometimes imaginations, it wasn't 100% a lie, but their mind made this thing huge, and it wasn't. Yeah, it was just a coyote. And coyotes do follow people a lot. They kind of figure out, like, I don't know. I think they get bored sometimes, and they're just trying to see if they can get any food or whatever. And they've kind of figured out we're slow as molasses, so they realize they can get pretty close without anybody finding out or, like, getting a hold of them. They realize how slow we are. This one was just kind of a weird thing, and I don't know if it's actually a Mandela, and it might not be, but somehow I never really thought of this. But like, when you're losing weight, like, how do you lose weight? Like, where does the weight go? And so apparently the story then is, say you have 10 kilograms of fat you lost, okay? So where did it go? You oxidize it, and I guess you oxidize the fat blobs, that is saved. You oxidize that, so you burn it, basically, I assume, in the mitochondria. And then they say, if you lose 10 kilograms of fat, 8.4 kilograms is converted to carbon dioxide, and is just breathed out. So when you're losing weight, you're actually breathing out the weight, which is pretty bizarre. Now, you do have to, like, your body has to convert that flab into energy, and that energy is burnt, and then the carbon part is pushed out via the lungs, and the other 1.6 kilograms is water, so you would like just pee that out. But I found it pretty bizarre that that's all that's going to be left. I imagine there might be a few vitamins and minerals, but you would just like reuse those. But I guess they don't weigh much if this accounts for all of the weight, basically. So maybe they're rounding off a tad, but... And for 10 kilograms of human fat to be oxidized, the researchers calculated 29 kilograms of oxygen must be inhaled. Oxygen then produced a total of 28 kilograms of CO2 and 11 kilograms of H2O. So it's using the oxygen to combine with the carbon and breathe back out. And it also is using it to make the water. None of this biochemistry is new, but for unknown reasons, it seems that nobody thought of performing these calculations before. The quantities make perfect sense, but we were surprised by the numbers that popped out. The quantities make perfect sense, but we were surprised by the numbers. This is another one of those sentences that I just don't really understand. Maybe it makes sense from a certain way. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I just never heard the numbers before, so I just thought I would cover it. It's interesting. You have to breathe out your flab. Wile E. Coyote. It kind of was, actually, that coyote. I talked to people in the neighborhood back. Those were in the days when you would talk to people, you know. Even in LA, I would talk to people more than I would now, because people talked to other people on the street. And I found out that coyote would like play with dogs, even small dogs, without eating them. So it must have thought that dogs were of its kind and it would not eat them. And I always worried that it would like turn on one of the small dogs, but it never did. And for years and years, it played with dogs. So I'm thinking that it just was interested in people's dogs, but not in a mean way. And indeed, it didn't act aggressive. It was just curious. The rats choose my knock sensor as the wire harness. Completely. 18-hour job to replace. Even with the shop discount. Oh, we've had ongoing trouble with the mice and the rats. One time the lights went out. The rats had chewed the wire. One time the brakes. It was some kind of part that like does the air for the brakes. They had chewed that and the brakes were spongy and like barely work. Like it was like in the dreams when you try to put the brake, you're driving and the brakes don't work good. It was just like that. It was like so creepy. That was rather expensive repair. They've been in the ventilation a couple times. There's probably some other, I can't think of any others offhand. Toyota uses soy wire. Yeah. And it was a Honda. Yeah. So what are they talking about here? The story is that one of the reasons rats choose wires a lot is because they were using an oil to pull the wires through the sheath that was like soy based or had like a food smell, and so they think that's why the mice were targeting it. Toyota. You know, I have to say I had a Toyota Corolla. I inherited it, but my mom treated it like total garbage. And it still lasted really long with minimal problems. The one thing I would say is that the plastic that they use for the door handles really does not hold up to sun. And if you're not garaging your vehicle, I mean, I had to replace those handles more than once. And on the flip side, my Honda, I only had to replace like one handle once, and I had my Honda longer, so like a lot longer. So the handles in the Toyotas, they needed to do better plastic. I bought flashing deterrents. They didn't work. I tried everything. Finally, I sprayed it down with WD-40. They didn't like it, but you got to keep doing it. Toyota got out of a class action lawsuit somehow. Class action lawsuit for what specifically? I'm just curious. Is it for the soy wires or something else? Can't get over that. All right, so I'm going to start going through. As mentioned, I did not see many Mandelas. And the other thing I will say is that I did go put aside quite a bit of time today to hunt for them, and I still did not find much. So it could be that there really just aren't that many, because all my favorite sites, I just looked and looked, and I actually found nothing. And the other thing is that I have a number of sites that I look, and I've noticed that just traffic to these sites is way down. Like posts on them are way down. Quality of the posts are way down in the last year, I would say. And I don't know why that is, because I don't think internet traffic has dropped. I mean, is everybody just talking about politics all day and they're not talking about history and weird sky phenomena or any of that? You know, like paranormal and weirdness is out and we just have to complain about politics all day. Is that what it is? I'm not sure. So, like, now this sub app at Optics, which does the weird sky phenomena, I haven't been on that one long enough to know if it's changed, but this is another one that came from there, and there's two different sightings from two different places, so somehow there's like this dark orange, light orange thing. Now, I thought that was like the sun, but they're saying, somebody said something about a temperature shift. I don't even know what that means, but there's this one. That one was over the grass, and then here it looks like another one of the same thing, but shown from a distance over the street. So I think that's the same one. Southbound Deerfoot at Calgary, so Canada. Then this guy's like, it's definitely a sundog. There may be a patch of low cirrus clouds reflecting the light for a particularly bright spot. Basically a partial 22-degree halo that make the sundog look tall. Very cool for the explanation. All right, so this is the sun, but I haven't seen a sundog like that where it's like two-tone split. It looks like a sun. They did a close-up of it. All right, so the actual sun is here. This is just, and then the whole rest of it's missing. Like, where's the rest of the halo? So, and then it got all long. So that's kind of bizarre. So I don't know. See, obviously that was 2 months ago. I think it's a little bit brighter and taller than when I saved it, possibly. That's one thing I've very much noticed. I'll save something, I'll look at it 2 months later, and now it's even upgraded. All right, this was some more polar stratospheric, which is the same as nacreous clouds. Now, I kind of feel like I had alternate angle Sphinx before, but this is a very interesting angle we haven't seen yet on the Sphinx. Sphinx is right here. Now you can see the whole city that didn't used to be there. Lot going on with the road and everything. All new. So there's this whole, man, what a mess of stuff. I don't know what that thing is. I remember way long time ago they said there was like a necropolis in front of the Sphinx, but I don't remember all this other crap. Certainly not the city. And if you look back in time, that city's been there for like 50 years, so you can't say, I know people are tempted to say, oh, it's just built up recently. No, it hasn't. All right, so more, this is one that's interesting because I guess that does kind of look like a sundog there, right? I mean, it does look a little bit like the one we just saw, orange and then lighter. But I noticed what on this one, it's like in front of this mountain. Now, normally when I see the sundogs, it's way out in the sky, but I don't know what's going on, but it's reflecting it in front of this mountain, which is interesting to me. That's the first image I've seen that it's so close. Okay, more crazy northern lights. I'm assuming this is sped up, but still, this is crazy amount of northern lights. Can you imagine the sky doing that? That's insane. Plus all the weird colors, yellow and red. Didn't used to have all that. But you can see it looks like it's coming down now. Like it's not just way up there. It's blocking the horizon. Like this red here, it looks like the horizon is here. This red is in front of that horizon. So you don't even need a flashlight, I guess, in the nighttime there. Who let the DMT elves out? Yep. Maybe it was us. You know, a lot of this stuff, I feel like, yeah, I could totally see humans inventing that. But then there's a bunch of awful stuff. But then I really think about, I'm like, yep, I could see humans inventing that too. Because we've definitely got, humanity in general definitely has a lot of dark side. You know, now that I look at it, I was saying I wasn't sure on Maybelline, but looking at it, it really looks right with one L, and it does not look right with two L's. So I think I'm going to have to agree it was one L. This is not one I'm 110% sure on, but not even on acid or shrooms, that would be insane. Can you imagine it being that bright? That's craziness. Quit, stop blaming us. Well, not you specifically. There's got to be a lot of other humans voting for this stuff. I will do Garfield. It's on the list for sure. Oh yeah, you know what? I have more on here. You know, lately I've been like stupidly. I just have my saved ones and then I jump straight to that. But you're right. I should totally go over the rest of them. So then what happens is I realize I didn't cover everything on my list. All right, so let me finish everything on my list. Because Garfield, that Jackie brought up. Garfield. Let me do Google here. Garfield. So the question at hand is this yellow part on the face. A lot of people just don't remember that. Like, what the hell? I thought he was just orange. I mean, he did have like mouth lines, but it looks weird. Like some of these, it looks really weird, like there. I actually don't remember the eyes mashing together like that, too. Like, this I remember, but I don't remember that, like that look. I don't remember it. I thought they were a little bit more separate. So there's actually another thing too. It's not just Garfield. Let's see if I can find it. I actually find something different about Odie as well. The dog. And I don't really remember the eyes like being totally like a straight line between them, but that's not the main thing. I do notice something different about Odie if you notice yourself. So Garfield's got this yellow. This kind of mirrors what I'm seeing in cats, because I'm seeing like a triangle of lightness showing up on a lot of cats that didn't used to have it, and like white under the chin. Even my own cat is getting white spreading up into the facial region from under the chin. That cat didn't have any white on it before. Like, I didn't have any white on my cat. It was all gray and stripy. And now it's got a white underbelly and a white chin. And I'm like, what in the F? And even the cat here that is just like a stripy one, that one is getting like white underneath there. So although this Garfield doesn't have a white chin, there does seem to be sort of like you know, like, what even is that part? Actually, the more I think about that, somebody called it, I think, Jackie, you called it a mustache. Like, okay, let me look at it. Okay, so I guess that's the upper mouth region where the whiskers attach. But, man, it looks dorky. But see, then the whiskers are way over here. So, like, how does he put his whiskers way over there? Like, it makes no sense now. This looks so bad. The whiskers are there? Something isn't right. I just don't remember it being like that. I mean, it wasn't the best drawing of a cat in the world, but... Alright, so back to Odie. So there's one thing for sure, and then there's one thing that I'm seeing in some of the images, not the others. So that other thing on Odie. Actually, I'm just realizing one other thing about Garfield. Besides that, I don't remember these, whatever, ear hairs. Yeah, I don't remember the ear hairs. I was like looking right at them, and somehow I didn't see those until now. But yeah, I don't remember ear hairs. And this actually fits with something I've been noticing also, because I have been noticing that... Now, I'm not even sure if those are ear hairs or whiskers, because the whisker attachment should be here, but the ears are way over there. So what even are those? Okay, I don't know. But let's just say they're ear hairs, because I have been noticing that there's been... like a lot of ear hairs coming out on a lot of animals where you didn't used to see that. And some of it is like so much it's ridiculous. And I do feel like it would probably interfere with hearing. Okay, so I call suspicion on these, whatever the hell is that? I don't even know what those are. Okay, so... All right, let me find Odie now. Okay, so both of the things show that I'm looking at on that image. But on this image, no. One of the things I'm noticing is that a lot of the images of Odie have these, I think they're like little whiskers or something. But yet this one doesn't have it. So I don't know if it's a Mandela or it's just like a newer version of Odie. But this one also has it. And I'm really suspicious that one. I won't swear on the whiskers, but I thought that was a plain shaven face, so to speak. And most of the... See, like that one really has it. And it looks kind of weird there. All right, so I haven't mentioned the other thing on Odie, in case you might have noticed it. Okay, Chloe's got it. So the other thing that I'm suspicious of on Odie is I don't remember that black spot on Odie. I don't remember having a spot at all. Absolutely not. There was no spot on Odie. Looks like a mustache. I don't even know. Whatever you say, Jackie, I don't know what that thing is. It's a good as answer as any. It's a mustache. I don't know. Okay, so yes, I call baloney on Odie's spot. It's on everywhere. What is those lines? Let's see, does Odie... Yeah, oh yes, Odie has skull hairs. I don't remember skull hairs on Odie either. Let's see. Okay, so... Not on that one, though. Actual cartoon. Let me look at the actual cartoon because he does have skull hairs on that one, and he does have the tick marks. Okay, so he was drawn with that. 1978. Okay, that goes way back. Huh. All right. Well, then they've been... I don't think that those extra hairs were there. Okay, so we got Garfield. Okay, this one. So if you got... A lot of people right now are getting shingles. And if you know what shingles is, the story is that if you get chicken pox... then for some reason your body never really eradicates the chicken pox and they're still hiding in your nerves in a dormant state. And then when you get older and weaker or stressed out or just for whatever reason, it can like re-emerge and then it would attack your nerve and you get this nasty rash and it's supposed to be really miserable. And of course they have a vaccine for it and who knows if that works or not. But, I had always heard that shingles is not contagious because it was just like attacking your nerve and then all the problems came from the nerve attack. But just lately they're saying it is contagious, which I have never heard because my mother got shingles and there was never any concern about her spreading it because the doctor said it's not contagious. But the current story is that it is contagious as long as there's active pustules and rash that's got fluids and stuff. It is contagious. To anybody who's never had chicken pox can now get chicken pox from these. So then you would have to be very careful, which I thought was interesting. I actually don't even remember it being contagious at all from the pox. I thought it was just like airborne, breathing on people stuff. And then the pox were like a side effect of the toxins. But apparently now, I'm not, is it the pustules then that spread the illness now? I don't think it was before. But they're saying as long as the pustules are active, you can spread it. So that is a shift for me. Okay, shingles, we did those. Nacreous. Demonic sea lions. Okay, I've got everything on the list. There wasn't much on the list this time, so we can start going through the things. You know, I've got to say, it's been a whole week. I still have a daytime schedule. And I'm a lot sleepier at night with this daytime schedule. It's getting close to my bedtime. I'm trying to do 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. sleeping, and it's been sticking nicely, but unfortunately about 1 o'clock in the morning, just thinking about it made me sleepy. All right, this is supposed to be another weird thing that happens from these rocket launches. I've never seen this before. I just gotta wonder now, like, they'll just blame every weird thing on the rocket launches. Southwestern Connecticut, towards the east, looks like off-gassing from a spacecraft. Upper stage doing a de-orbit maneuver. An upper stage firing. Okay, so that's pretty bizarre. It looks like a space jellyfish or something. What was this? I don't remember. Ah, okay. That is... I think they said this was noctilucent clouds, but that's pretty bizarre. Probably noctilucent. I was thinking maybe this was actually a remnant of one of the space rocket launches. But I don't know. Nobody said anything about it, though, being like, are they launching anything near Southern Africa? Maybe they're not. Not officially, anyways. Alright, this is another one of those weird sea creatures. Polka dot nudibranch. I don't even know how you pronounce those. I think the head's over here. There's so many of these now, it's hard to keep track, but I just thought I'd throw that one in. Alright, this one I saved, what, 2 months ago, 1 month ago. But I think there's more to it because I don't think this line and this line were here when I saved this. So it's like still upgrading. And it looks like there's going to be a line through here too. But this one here, I'm pretty sure wasn't there. And they're getting very rainbowy now. Of course, that was from 13 years ago before I ever heard of these things. Here's another one. I swear this, it's like that sun pillar, they're calling it, which is like related to a light pillar. I think this one has gotten brighter. Man, it looks like there's been a nuclear war over there. So I'm pretty sure this one's gotten taller and brighter since I saved it, like a month ago. This is another one. It seems like it's brighter than when I saved it. That one be meteorite. It seems like in this timeline, these green meteorites are pretty common. I did not have any of them before a couple years ago. This is another one that looks like it's getting brighter. Hold on, the cat wants in. I'll throw some food out for the other ones. Kitty. Kitty's in. I think I've mentioned this before, but first of all, this one I don't think was in there when I saved this the last time. What, you want up here, Kitty? Roof. Kitty said she wants up. I don't think it'll last when she sees me talking to nobody. And I think I've mentioned how they're getting darker in the middle. So it's not just the line now. There's a weird glow around it, a darkness in the middle. It just kind of got more of a 3D look. I think now this is nacreous clouds, but yeah, see, she's already done with me. She doesn't like it when I talk to nobody. These are all just old ones I saved. Oops. Goofed up. Why can't I go back that way? Okay, wait. That's weird because it won't let me. Did I delete it? No. I should be able to go forward, but it's not working. Okay, let me try this again. Saved. All right, so we're here. All right, I've had this one on before. But what's different now? Suddenly we get a far away view. There's a bunch of people in there now. And then we have the sky above here. So it's not just in the clouds that this is happening. There's actually the sun right there. People all around it. So it's not way off in the distance. So it just seems like this one has changed a lot. All these extra skiers around it. You can get an idea of the size. It's much more defined than it was before. It's much more sparkly looking. And it's got a little rainbow bit starting up here. It's kind of orange at the top, which I don't recall it being before when we looked at this. And I think it's the exact same video, but there's like people added and then a pan back where you see the sun, which is here. So this is like upgraded. Somebody skis in front. So upgrade to an old video. Do you think mud fossils are real? Oh, that's a tough one. You know, when I first came out, I'm like, that's a bunch of baloney. But I mean, the world is so strange now. I just feel like anything could turn out to be real down the road. And I'm not really sure if there's any really stable official facts or canon for the world anymore. So I don't really discount anything because reality can change and the facts will change and suddenly they'll go, actually, this is not really what happened. This is what happened. And all that stuff you were told before was actually just wrong, or it was, you remembered it wrong, or the teachers were dumb, or the researchers were crooked, or it was actually all faked for clicks, and so like, I see that happen so much more quickly now. So even in like simple events, like if like say the Capitol riots are a pretty good example. So when it first came out, you see all this violent kind of clashes and you're like, that's kind of a violent riot thing. And then everybody forms their opinion. And then a couple years later, new video is released that shows a bunch of peaceful parts of it. And then it turns out that actually, like first they said 3 cops died, and then they go actually 1 cop died, but it was only from a stroke later, and he was never killed, and that all these people are invited in, and now there's like a whole different impression of the exact same event. And then they're like, oh, actually, there was like 15 different FBI agents involved, and none of them were ever arrested. They were all protected from arrest. And then so like the whole narrative changes because you get this whole new stack of information. So like I am actually hesitant to really get behind any real opinions on stuff because I feel like for almost every event now you get one side of a story, and then suddenly a little while later you get a whole bunch of info that really sheds a whole different narrative. And then sometimes it'll flip back and, well, actually, and it's almost like it's like a lesson for us or something, to just not get too opinionated, or not get too thinking you know everything, or not getting too eager to judge, or maybe all of the above. I don't know. What lesson do you want to take from it? That reality is unpredictable, and so there's all these maybe heroes or people you thought were so awesome, and then suddenly find out that they're all evil bad people, and maybe down the line we'll find out that they were all, or at least some of them, were unfairly maligned and they're actually good people. And like, maybe we should just worry a little bit less about all them and worry more about our own selves. Maybe that's the lesson. You know, don't get sucked into somebody else's drama to such an extent that you neglect your own issues. I'm a collector, antique picker, seller somewhat. I love to collect higher valued items. Yeah, you know, when I get something, I do a little bit of that because my mother she was one of the flea market antique hunter people. And I would sometimes go with her, so I know some of the stuff. But when I find something really good, then I just want to keep it. And if it's only $20, like say they sold it for $2, but it's $20, I'm like, yeah. By the time I spend an hour putting it up for sale, you know, it's almost not worth the effort, because I could spend an hour putting something else up for sale that sells over and over again, and there'll be more bang for the buck. So I pretty much only grab, like, either I really like it and I want to keep it, or I think it's really expensive. Then I'm like, how much to even charge for it? I don't know. I do have some neat stuff at the house, though. And it's fun. I like going to, you know, one reason I like going to Goodwill and stuff is I never know what weird, strange, interesting things will show up there. Maybe it'll be nothing, but if you go to the regular stores, it's the same old stuff, the same old shirts, the same old shavers for men, and throw pillows, and tacky jewelry, and purses. It's the same old stuff every last time. You just almost never find anything of interest. But at Goodwill, no idea what'll happen. Or like, even better is Salvation Army, or like off-brand thrift stores. You never know. Yeah, see, that's the other thing, though. I try not to buy too much, because either I'm going to sell it. I'm trying to have less stuff. And I've already got all this stuff from my mom. And I actually sold a bunch of it for cheap. The less expensive, less valuable stuff. Like plates that were $10, I just sold them for $2. I just had to get rid of it. There was so much stuff, it was insane. I still have a lot of stuff, though. And I'm probably going to have to try to price it out a little and sell more. She's got a lot of old bottles, but I think a lot of them are really only worth like $10. So I'm not sure if I really want to put them up. Maybe I'll just put them up as like a group photo and say number 1 is this much, number 2 is that much. But I'm on my way to wealth and happiness. That sounds good, and I try not to fight that on my mind, because my first instinct was like, nah. And I'm like, nah, that's not the instinct I want to have. Yeah, so maybe, you know, I feel like the flip-flops of the story, maybe that is the point, though, is not to be so judgy. Like, you know, I see a story and I think I know, like, I feel like I know what's going on, and this is my judgment of who's to blame. And then I get all this other info later, and I'm like, oh, well, that sheds a whole different light on it, doesn't it? And even if now, and maybe I'm learning my lesson, because now I'm like, well, let's wait and see what info comes out. And now, even if more info comes out, I'm like, I don't want to get too attached to an opinion, because I've just noticed too much that it'll get overturned later. Like, So, like, say I go, oh, that Ghislaine Maxwell, she's a horrible person, and, she deserves to be in prison, right? And then 3 years later, it might come out that actually she was framed and she was a bit character and she didn't know about most of it, and here's all the evidence. That stuff happens all the time now. So it's like, and I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. Maybe we'll find out she's actually the mastermind and she planned the whole thing, and Epstein was the victim and she murdered him so that he would keep his mouth shut, or, who the heck knows? I mean, like, it could go that way too, but it just seems like whenever you think then suddenly it reverses. My parents are building me a granny flat for $30,000. Well, that's pretty cool. But they want me to pay it back like a rent situation. That's fair. That is fair. I mean, I'm assuming they're not going to charge you a huge amount for rent. They're going to cut you a little bit of a break. Then you pay it off after time. And, that works good for them because they'll be paying off a granny flat. And then whoever inherits it down the line will have a granny flat. So... after paying off $3,000, I thought you said it was $30,000. After paying off $3,000, it will be yours, or after you paying off $30,000, it'll be yours. Because if it's only after paying off $3,000 that you get it, that's a pretty good deal. Found some license plates long ago. Don't remember what kind, but they were all the same. Not Florida, but had orange in the center. Got $125. Huh. Sometimes it's hard to predict. That's part of it. That's the other reason why I haven't sold a lot of the cheaper stuff. It's like, well, I got to spend a lot of time researching pricing for each one, because one of them might be worth $500 or it might be worth $5 for those bottles, because it really depends on the rarity and all this stuff. Like some of this stuff I have a generally good idea, like Stifes, the old stuffed animals. I know the Stifes pretty well. They're pretty well easy to search because there's not like 100 different kinds of Stife cat or something. But yeah, it was, well, it sounds like a fair deal to me. And, as long as I would imagine they're going to keep the rent like more in range. And, if you got sick or something, I'm sure they wouldn't evict you if you couldn't pay the rent. It's hard trying to find people who actually want to hire me and give me rent. I really suggest you consider doing some kind of online business behind the scenes, and then you don't have to work for anybody else, and nobody even meets you, so nobody's going to decide they like you or not or care. Like, I have the online business, and I don't even have my face on there, so I could be an alien for all anybody knows. Up your YouTube game. YouTube, I don't know. It's unreliable to me. People used to make a lot of money on YouTube, and then YouTube changes the algorithms, and then they'll cancel your whole show because they don't like your subject, or they will just suppress you in the search. That's why I don't like YouTube. Don't know how I'll start it. Well, I would spend a little bit of time thinking about stuff you like, stuff stuff that might be fun to you, and think about a niche. Like, I sell stuff, right? So one time I talked to my neighbor at the old place, and I told him a little bit about my Etsy thing. I just get stuff and then I just sell it online, and sometimes I like upgrade it. And that guy knew a lot about tools, so he decided, like, he heard all my stuff and he's like, maybe I'll just try it. So he's got some of his old tools that he wasn't using, and he kind of like cleaned them up a little to make sure that they were nice and smooth running, and then he would put them up for like $20 each or something, and he started selling tools, and they sold. So then he's like, he was going on eBay. So then he's like, he started going to garage sales to find more old tools to sell, to put up on there. And then pretty soon he had a pretty decent business selling tools online because he knew about tools. So you know, there's a thing. Now, when I sell, sometimes I put stuff up and it doesn't sell worth a crap. So then I just sell that out. I'll make it cheap. I'll get rid of it, you know, whatever. And I'll just stop selling that after I get rid of it. But then other stuff I'll put up and it'll sell good or medium. And especially if it sells good, then I'll try to add more product that's similar. Like this urchin spine sells good. I'm going to see if there's more styles of urchin spine. And so that's how you do it. You kind of throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and then you see what sticks and then just like work from there. So that's how I did it. But I do suggest you look at stuff you're interested in, you know. And I also do suggest that you pick kind of a niche where you can compete and you don't have like a million other people you're going against. Yeah, I don't have a website either. And you know what? It's pretty hard to drive traffic to your website. I sell on Etsy, and a lot of people that are in my kind of job, what they do is they sell on eBay, Etsy, and Amazon. So they sell on all three. They're spread out. They have the same product. And then some of them do have their own website after they kind of get money from eBay, Amazon, and Etsy. And then they send out cards with their product to drive people to their private website. Like, you know, come here and you'll get a 10% discount, and which works because you don't have to pay as many fees on your own website, so then you can give them a little discount, right? Also, I can send PayPal invoices, and that cuts half the fees, and I only have the PayPal fee, which is not much. I've never had the cash to pay for everything to get an online shop. All right. I gotta tell you, I started my whole business on $300. And what I did was when the hair feathers thing came around, I was able to get a bunch of those hair feathers. And I didn't even need the whole $300, but I got $300 with the hair feathers. I probably could have started at like $60 worth of hair feathers. But one of the reasons I bought 300 was because when you found those hair feathers, they would be bought so quick. So I bought all the ones I could afford right away. And then I resold them because it was a hot trend. And I made good money from that. But, you know, I have bills to pay and stuff. So I would get some of that money to buy more feathers and like whatever. But then I just started adding, like I decided to add some online. So I added my feathers to Etsy that I already had. And then from there, I would just add things one at a time onto my Etsy store. And I did not spend a lot of money because to get an Etsy store is free. Okay. And to list an item is 20 cents for 4 months. You can list an item for either 3 or 4 months. I'm pretty sure 20 cents to list an item. So everybody has 20 cents. Okay. And then I just looked around, and in the beginning I had a lot more time. They had money, so I would just find stuff in the house. I went out, I picked up acorns, and then I sold acorns. I drilled the acorns. I wasn't sure how to preserve the acorns, so I did a Google, found that out, did it. Now I had a Dremel, right? A Dremel's like $30, a cheap Dremel I had. I think I just had it already. It was like something in the house, little poke holes and stuff. I also would just use a drill. I bought a drill bit from the store, and it cost like $1, and I would drill like the acorns with that, and people like drilled stuff. Okay, so that's how I got started. And then I went and I found like the gum pods, and I sold those. And my mother had some feathers, so I sold those. And then I asked around for what people had. Like some people earned birds, so I could sell parrot feathers, right? Because people had birds. And I would go on Etsy and I'd see, well, does other people sell these pretty good? Yeah, they do. You know, I'd check what their prices were. Some of the stuff didn't sell, so I just quit doing it. I made some art stuff, didn't sell worth a crap. So then I had the parts for the art stuff, right? And so I just was like, I'm going to sell off these parts because this art didn't sell, but I'll just sell off all the supplies. And then the supplies sold better than the art. So then I'm like, I'm going to just sell supplies because it sells better than the art. And that's how I got started. And I didn't have like this big, fancy, expensive thing. It was just bit by bit. Oh, I got some old antiques. Sell it. I found an old lamp on at a garage sale, and I would sell that. Antique stuff at the garage sale sold. So my Etsy store is if you go to evasfeathers.com, you will get to my Etsy store because I started with feathers. Coke, this is actually Diet Coke. This is actually a big Mandela. It's Coke Zero. Coke Zero was a Mandela because I was in a timeline for a while where a bunch of people were saying, oh my God, do you remember Coke Zero? It's gone. It never existed. One of the few things that have disappeared, except for I didn't remember Coke Zero ever existing. So those people were like from a different timeline. They remembered Coke Zero. I didn't. So I don't remember Coke Zero. If you say so, I'm not going to argue, but a lot of people would say, oh my God, what happened to Coke Zero? It's gone. And indeed, I looked and there was no hide nor hair existence of Coke Zero. And then one day I went to the store and it was Coke Zero. It was Coke Zero at the store. I'm like, what the F? That's a Mandela of, that was my first sighting of Coke Zero having ever existed. I went back and of course Coke Zero always existed. So I bought one. And you know what? I like it because Coke Zero has a different artificial sweetener called short version is Ace K. It's got this big long name, and I like it better than the regular ones. But Diet Coke is worse than sugar. Who the heck knows? I don't know. I've never had a problem with Diet Coke personally. I was on Diet Coke a long time. I would drink it, and then I quit for like years, and I did not notice any improvement in my health or anything. So now I'm back on that is my one big probably vice right now would be Diet Coke. Y'all remember Crystal Clear Pepsi? I do not personally remember that, but yeah, so I'm back in, I have shifted into a Coke Zero timeline. And the weird thing is, for a brief while it said Coke Zero on it, and then now it's Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. So it still has that same weird sweetener in it, but there was no zero sugar or anything. There was not a secondary type of Diet Coke. So there's now Diet Coke, and then there's Diet Coca-Cola Zero, which is a different Diet Coke. There's two of them in this timeline. Everything is cancer causing. I think one of the reasons I like it is every time I get a blood test, I'm low phosphorus for some reason. I don't know what is. I've kind of looked and I haven't really. Being low phosphorus blood test is unusual because usually it's people have problems with high phosphorus. So that makes it difficult to search for anything, because whenever you write low phosphorus, you get 100 million examples of, well, this is what you do if you have high phosphorus. I don't have high phosphorus. Okay, and this is when I wasn't drinking any soda, I might add, okay, that I did these blood tests. So just occasionally now I just get blood tests done to see what's up. Always low. In fact, I was under the range one time, and the last time I was at the very bottom of the range. So I don't know if it's a big deal or not, but I do feel a lot better when I just consume phosphorus, and Coke has a lot of like this really fast phosphorus stuff ingredient. In fact, people with high phosphorus are told do not drink it because that speedy phosphorus is very much pump up your phosphorus level. So that might be one of the reasons I like it. And I don't know what the deal is. It's not like I eat garbage food or anything. So why is my phosphorus low? I don't know. Anybody has a magic answer? Is there something else I need to have in order to uptake phosphorus? Or is this a symptom of other latent lacks? You need to be careful about asulfamine, potassium, and aspartame, aspartame. Much worse than... I don't know. You know, like everything you look into is carcinogenic. But that's the only thing I really do now that could be considered it. So I'm probably better than most. So, you know, I don't really like the normal ones, and I just don't do well with sugar, but I also find them to be too sweet. All right, so where are we? We're at 140. Majestic sun candle phenomena. You know what? I don't think I had that name before. Sun candle phenomena. Maybe just look that up real quick. I think it had a different name before, didn't it? Candle phenomenal. Sun candle phenomena. Australia's rare sun candle phenomena goes viral. I think that was a pretty old event too, wasn't it? Like a few years. Recently appeared in the sky over Austria. I think I've been having that on for like 6 months, haven't I? Though rare, offers a glimpse into the intricate and fascinating ways in which natural forces interact with our environment. For the skier who witnessed it, this is interesting because this kind of matches what I remember. There was one person who witnessed it, and that was the camera person. For the skier who witnessed it, the experience was nothing short of life-changing. But now there's a whole boatload of skiers, so more than one would have had their life-changing event. The viral video has allowed others to share in the awe. Others, it's interesting. They're writing as if all those other people aren't there, which is the original version I remember. So one thing I've really noticed is it's like way more sparkly than I recall before. It's also known as a subsun. I think that's what it was called, I remember before, subsun, and atmospheric phenomena occurring rarely. Interacts with ice crystals, blah, blah. Those ice crystals are amazing in this timeline. Okay, so I didn't learn anything new except for it's called a sun candle sometimes. So the one thing I've heard is that aspartame, I'm not even sure how you pronounce that, can be excitotoxic. Like it basically excites your brain too much and kills neurons. But you do have to suck down a lot in the research that found it to be excitotoxic. It was a lot. So that makes it a little tricky because, I mean, a lot of things are dangerous water will kill you if you drink 2 gallons. And 2 gallons is really not that much water when you're thirsty, but it can kill you because it dilutes your electrolytes or something was the story. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I probably could do without it. But, you know, it's like... I don't know what it is, but I feel better when I have those. And that's one of the reasons I just started drinking them again. I actually feel better. And I think it might be the phosphorus. Which I am low on. And there's also this other ingredient, which is, what was that stuff again? I can't hardly see it. The caffeine, of course. And there's one other ingredient that actually is known to help lower blood acidity. And that also I sometimes take separately as a supplement now. And so also that one. So that might be why I like it. Yeah, that is an older Mandela that I discussed about it 2 years ago, maybe, was that you can go to the end of rainbows now. So they were always a distant optical phenomenon. That exactly how I remember it. And that's why they used to say there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, because it was like this mystical location that you could never get to. So people would chase the rainbow, right? You chase it because you could never catch it. Because it was always a little further away, and you'd never get the pot of the gold because the end of the rainbow was not obtainable. Do you want to do some logo checks on which ones? Originally developed as a pesticide. Was it? I didn't recall that. I'll have to look that in. Aspartame, you mean, was originally developed as a pesticide? Because I do not recall that when my researches. But I will check again, unless it was that Ace K you're talking about. So Ace K, like the whole drink, was not in my timeline of there being a Coke Zero. There was no Pepsi Zero either. And now there is a Pepsi Zero. When I looked up Ace K, it goes back to like the 70s or something. So it's been around this whole time. I'm suspicious that maybe it wasn't in my old time, because I have never heard of it. There really weren't many artificial sweeteners in my old timeline. And that's one of the reasons I don't know a lot about Ace K. I did a little research on it. Didn't find anything particularly interesting. Speaking of stuff showing up, I guess we have a space plane. X-37 space plane. The highly secretive space plane. And here's an image from our space plane. I guess it just goes up into space and orbits around for like really long periods of time and then flies back down. In orbit, which fucking orbit the moons. I know it's supposed to be top secret. It does look like it's really far away. I'm like, is this orbit? What's up? Or is this just another fake graphic created by somebody bored and then claiming it's a photo? Highly elliptical high Earth orbit trajectory. It's obviously high altitude mission since it launched not only on a Falcon. Oh, okay, so it was the space plane was flown up by a rocket. I just don't remember anything about this thing, the space plane. I guess you didn't know because it was secretive, but I mean, it's on Reddit, so it's not that secretive. It's either in the sphere of influence of the moon or outside the Earth's sphere of influence. That's what, okay, that's altitude. So it gets launched up on a rocket, then glides down. It's literally the same tech as the space shuttle used 40 years ago. It's not even a space plane. It's okay. So the thing is, I thought they didn't make any more shuttles, but now we basically have a space plane that's like a shuttle. So they're saying this is a highly elliptical orbit with a really zoomed out camera. Why would you zoom the camera out? Wouldn't you want to like at least fill it with the Earth? I don't know. Something is weird. So the X-37. What does it even look like? Space plane. X-37 orbital test vehicle. Reusable. It's uncrewed. Okay. Carry out. Okay. Well, yeah, it still seems weird, though. Because it comes back down. It flies back down. Executed a series of first-of-its-kind maneuvers called aero braking, which uses the drag generated by the Earth's atmosphere. First-of-its-kind maneuvers? I thought that the shuttle used the same thing. The drag generated by the Earth's atmosphere. Wasn't that exactly how the shuttle landed? It looks like the shuttle too. Except for the wings are smaller. Of course they are. 1999, NASA selected Boeing to design and develop an orbital vehicle built by the California branch of Boeing Phantom Works. 4 years later, in late 2002, contract was blah. When did it go up, guys? X-37A completed a captive flight under the White Knight from Mojave Spaceport in Mojave. The White Knight. Huh. Okay. I don't know what that is. Okay, so it looks like kind of like a small wing space shuttle. Okay, first space planes. What the heck is the Buran? What? Is that Russian one? North American X-15 horizontal ascent. So we had a space plane in 1962? Okay. Okay. Space shuttle, Buran. I'm thinking that has to be that Russian one. First manned private space flight. Spaceship One. Private space flight. Okay. And this is the Boeing X-37 atop Atlas. Okay, so I guess it's in here in the little nose cone thingy. So it's dinky. Okay, it's dinky. X-37B sits on the runway. Dang, it just looks like a plane, doesn't it? It doesn't even look like a space plane, hardly. Alright, anyway, I just don't remember the space plane. And this photo. I mean, like, how far away are you from the Earth again? Alright, speaking of weird other stuff, surface of Venus. You know, like Mars, it just looked like Earth with like a red filter on the lens. And now Venus, which I don't even remember you could land on, now just looks like Earth with a yellow filter on the lens. Like a super yellow filter. So there we go. This is the first, there's a surface of Venus. It's yellow. I just wonder, maybe over time, Venus will become... I mean, you couldn't even land on it before in my old timeline. Now you can land on it. It looks kind of like Earth with a yellow filter. Like, will it slowly get less yellow and become Earth-like? Because that's kind of like what Mars is doing. Mars has a blue sky a lot of the time now. It's not very red anymore. It just looks a little dusty. Sometimes it doesn't even look red at all. So this is another one that's shifted lately for me. These giant oarfish. Notice anything different about the giant oarfish? So when I first covered these, there's specific things I really thought were awesome about it. And that was one of those things, was how silvery they were along their sides. And then for a while, they just totally stopped being silvery and they were just kind of like gray. And then they had these spots on them. And that's not the only thing, but the spots are still there. But like the last few weeks, it looks like they got pretty silvery again. Like they're more shiny. Not as quite as absolutely mirror chrome finish as I recall. But there's another thing that's really upgraded, and that's this business. They've got these dangly bits all over them on these oarfish. Let me see. I don't even know if is there more than one kind? I think there's only one oarfish so far. Oarfish. Okay, so there's more than one kind. Let's do doomsday fish then. Okay, so here We have the doomsday fish. Washed up. Okay, see all this like stuff laying around? That's all those dangly bits. You know, I think I need to go to Google so I can get some decent images. Okay, so this is what they look like now. They have all this dangly stuff here. They have dangly stuff here and all this red. It's all red. And then they have like all this, like the sail fin thingy all across the top. So that's all new for me. In the last like month ago, I saw this. I think it was about a month ago that I saw all this extra stuff that are on these oarfish. And then I've been kind of watching. Okay, so like this one is not shiny, but okay, well, maybe it's kind of rotted or something. I think this is the one I had on before, and it still looks super shiny and not very spotted. But then when you kind of slow it down, you can still kind of see that the spots are kind of there now. Okay, that's like a generated one, obviously, but you can see all the red toppings. Drawing. All right, can we see some more images of them? So are they shiny or are they not shiny right now? Shiny, not shiny. Shiny, not shiny. This was interesting because I don't see that top stuff on that one. Divers encounter giant oarfish. Actually, this is, oh. Okay, so that red, you can see bits of it across the top here. But where is his dangles over here? Are they like all invisible? So a while ago, I showed this one. Apparently, they have a pushed-in face that their mouth can snap out. And so this one, it died and the face fell out. And now it has a horse face. Show it over here. But this has the red dangles on it. But what is the stuff on the head broke off, or is it smooshed against the back? So like this shows it that it should have all this stuff and that. So as best I can tell, they're all supposed to have that. This one has it laying on the ground. But that one that I saw before, where did that go? This one, where is the dangles? There's no dangly fin bits, and there's no dangly top bits. So are they going to say the shark ate all of his bits? So when I looked into these last time, like this was one of them, but there was several others, and they were all like super shiny. This is one of them, and there was one where they were on a boat and they had one. But they did not have like the red bits. Now this one you can kind of see it, but there was one where they held it up on the boat and it had no red bits. But this is the red bits it's supposed to have. So like I think all these red bits are new, and then there's a lot of them have this mottled stuff all over them now, and I'm pretty sure that wasn't there before. This one is weirdly shiny compared to some of the other ones, though. Basically, every image on here that's older shows them, that I remember seeing when I first looked, shows them all shiny. That one, this one, and there's one other that I don't see on here. I don't think I've seen this one. That one might be the same as this event, though. So now all the newer ones, they're not shiny. This one's not shiny. Like they were shiny. I mean, there was shiny like chrome. This one's not shiny. You're not shiny. So I don't know. Now I'm looking again. I looked like 2 weeks ago and they look like they were getting shiny again, but now they look like they're not. So I don't know what's going on. I like shiny oarfish. I want my shiny oarfish back. Did they immediately stop getting shiny after they're dead? What's going on? This one looks super shiny. This one just doesn't. It doesn't really say on Wiki if they're shiny or not. That one's not shown as shiny. I'm kind of upset. I want my chrome colored one back. I know it was on here saying how I love the chrome of them. Went to the freezer, walked back, and now it's a horse hybrid. It had a horse inside, and now it's popped out. Oh, yeah, we had our time change like a couple weeks ago. So, let's see, spring forward. So, yeah, so it's actually 3 o'clock in the morning in old time, but 2 o'clock here, which reminds me we're at the end. Didn't I say they were extra shiny? No, not in my not this me. I don't remember saying they were extra shiny. Maybe another me said they were extra shiny. I mean, like not last week, months ago, I said I loved how shiny they were. I remember you saying that last week. I don't remember me saying it. I don't think I covered them last week because I have them on here in this. I didn't cover this bunch of stuff last week. Yeah, you'll have to rewatch it. Let me know if I said they were shiny because I'm pretty sure I didn't. If I said anything, well, I can't see how I would say that. Maybe I said they got less shiny than a little bit more shiny, but then I looked at them today and they're less shiny again. But I would have had to say something about them being less shiny for a while at least. Alien P Venus. I don't know. Like I kind of feel like this is like who got so lazy that when they're creating the planets, they're like, well, we'll just put a yellow filter on it and call it Venus. Like what kind of low production quality reality is this? I mean, you can't even give some cool looking rocks or something. I talked shit to Elon Musk earlier. He trolls one of the main important channels I'm deeply involved in. General knows of it. Huh. I don't know. I actually kind of like Musk more lately because he's not on there. Like, I kind of was lost respect when he was calling that guy a pedophile and blah, and there was no evidence. And he does seem like he's got kind of an anger management short fuse. But I do really appreciate him going in and trying to find fraud and bullcrap. And he's obviously getting way more crap for it than I think he deserves. I don't think he's really done anything wrong. Now, I can never say maybe there's some secret other thing going on. And I'll certainly say that the Republicans have done a so far horrible, non-existent job of cutting the budget deficit, which is supposed to be the whole point of this thing. But Musk can't control what the other idiot Republicans do, so I'm not going to blame him for that. But I am also just super fascinated with what he finds. Like, he found that, assuming that none of this is super exaggerated and is reasonably true, is that there's magic money machines. Like, there's apparently certain machines that can cut checks and the money is not withdrawn from anywhere. So he was saying that actual government spending is about 5% more than the official records show because of these magic money machines. It's just a name he's calling it. So if you cut checks but the money doesn't come out of anywhere, then that'll just like, it'll contribute to inflation basically. So assuming that's true, that's like really fascinating. And then like all the weird stuff that they're spending it on, and like, so does nitric oxide but only as a, let's see. Zoomed out to highlight the claim of ball Earth. See, that's the thing. I mean, is there space at all? Is there space in some realities and not in others? Are we a ball Earth? Are we just a simulation? Because if space is not in existence, then what's SpaceX up to? It doesn't seem like he really shot a car up, because everybody's saying like the tires wouldn't be in good shape and it would be all sunburnt, and none of those things were true. So maybe that was all a publicity stunt. He didn't ship one up there. But even if he didn't really do it and he just wanted publicity, that doesn't mean space doesn't exist, right? It could be that space exists, but he just saved money by lying. But, what is he getting paid for if there's no space? Are they just like flying around the top of the dome? I don't know. Like, I don't even know how that works, but I mean, apparently something shoots up there. I mean, I see them going over whatever the heck they are. Yep, almost done. All right, let me read the last bits. The concrete chips. All right, let me just look at the concrete chips really good. I'm looking at the concrete chips and I'm going to bail. I don't think I knew. I think I remember them saying something about there being concrete chips a couple years ago, now that I'm like racking my brains. I thought it was weird. But I guess they were saying there's air in the center. So you can take something pretty heavy and plop it in there, and then the air in the center, and they don't sink. I don't really exactly understand it, but I have seen that. Ferro cement ships require thick hulls, which results in either larger cross section. Dinghy built in 1848, huh? I don't know. I don't know on that one. I don't remember there being anything like that, but I did hear about it a few years ago, and I just didn't know that much about ships. So if there was a cement ship and I looked at it, it doesn't look that different from a normal ship, so I probably wouldn't have known it was cement. So yeah, I can't really comment. You're getting rid of carb? Yes! For those who don't know, Trump has like withdrawn California's right to have their own emission standards. And so considering that, a lot of vehicles get scrapped simply because we can't figure out what's wrong with them enough to pass CARB. Like the emissions will be a tiny bit off and we can't find the problem. And then you spend like thousands looking for the problem and you can't find it. So you have to scrap the car. We lose a lot of money that way. So I'm going to be glad to be out from under it. We'll just have the same smog standards as the feds instead of having our own special ones. And it's a constant problem because it's so complicated. That last little bit of smog they're trying to squeeze out, it is so complicated. Painting of Lucifer, 1794. Statue of Liberty, 1875. Huh. Oh my gosh. I have not seen that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just the look that they did faces back then, but yeah. I mean, Statue of Liberty used to be much more petite, you know, smaller looking female, like more thin and feminine looking. So there, I definitely noticed there, that it's oh, it's different now. I don't know what it means. I really don't, but this comparison would not have been possible in the past because they looked very different. But now they don't. I don't know what it means. Maybe we get to choose what we want it to mean. I don't know. I sent this to you months. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't remember it. I do remember reading. Okay, you know, this is like white is black, black is white. Oh, Lucifer's the light bringer. He's actually the good guy. I don't know. Like, I still say that the simplest thing then is if somebody is pushing love, kindness, and goodness, and you can feel that when they are real kind, sweet, good people. And that doesn't mean they're dumb. That doesn't mean that they don't know that there's bad things, but they emanate those good things. Then they're a good person. Whatever you want to call them, you know, like whatever label you want to stick on there. And if somebody is pushing fighting, anger, jealousy, hatred, petty stuff, gossiping, and that's crap, then those are negative things you don't want to follow. So whatever you want to call that, you know, if whatever they're claiming to be, it doesn't matter. It's that energy and what they do. So the labels don't matter. So you want to say the devil is the angel and the angel is the devil. What is that person doing and emanating, and what are their behaviors in the world? That's all you really have to know. The rest, it's just semantics. Anyways, yes, it is time for me to go, people. All right, I'll check out the Eternal Flame, but I'm going to do that afterwards. I got to check out. I'm getting sleepy too. So thank you everybody for coming. Appreciate it very much. All the Mandelas that you've given me and all the time and attention that you have blessed me with. Thank you so much for coming. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.